Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dr. Stevil Show, or Chatting with Dr. Stevil Show. Yeah, today my guest is a professional Colonel Heartland Sanders impersonator and the official KFC Global Brand Ambassador, Johnny Miller. Johnny, can I call you Colonel?
Yes, you may. Well, howdy, folks. Well, this is Colonel Sanders here, and we are visiting today from my home in Corbin, Kentucky. So we're going to talk a little bit about fried chicken. But, I got a concern, Mr. Dr. Stevil. Stevil, you're not related to that Dr. Evil guy, are you? Ooh, you sure look
He's
like
kind of
him.
a ripoff, you know.
He's cool.
I know, we got good looks.
I have never been interviewed by an arch villain. I've got a concern. Is this going to hurt my reputation?
It all depends here. I want to see if you're suited to staff my cafeteria in my, secret lair. Tell me what you got, chicken boy.
I've got chicken. No, I think the biggest problem we have is catching those chickens. Are you able to catch those chickens so we can have them fresh?
That's up to you now. I can give you some minions if you like.
Oh, goodness. They run fast. Hey, they're small. I can also use them like a bowling ball, and we can roll over the chickens that way.
However you work, man. You're the
Let's
pro.
knock them over and go pick them up. Huh? You can't throw them?
I don't know. I'm not a chicken. I'm not a hands-on evil genius, okay? Yeah.
Okay. Well, this interview better go really good because I've got my checkbook here, and I'm thinking I may write you a check for $1 million. I've been hearing you've been short on cash, and you might need $1 million. You've always asking for $1 million, but we'll see how this goes. You better treat me right.
Yeah, no, things are slow. That's why I'm doing these online interviews. It's like COVID-19. So here I am. Make myself relevant still.
Well, let's get this show on the road. Let's talk about fried chicken. Let's go ahead. Go ahead. Start that interview, sir.
Okay. So, Johnny, or Colonel, if whatever you prefer, how did you become a Colonel Sanders impersonator?
Okay, well, I'm going to go into my voice, which is my real voice, which almost sounds like the Colonel's voice. It's sort of convenient that my voice is very similar to Harlan Sanders. And you mispronounced it.
Yeah, but we can understand you a bit better.
Yeah, well, but the guy, he's got a birthday coming up, actually September 9th, and it's 130th birthday. He's getting up there. So I look pretty good for 130.
Damn, you do. Yeah. What's your secret?
Chicken grease. You just sort of smear it up there and everything. Everything's fried chicken. You could cure a multitude of ailments with fried chicken. It's the food of the gods. Really? Food of the gods.
Fair enough.
Well, anyway, I'm going to tell you how I became. You want to know how I became the Colonel? Well, this goes
How'd you become the
back.
Colonel? Were you just walking down the street and you had this cool goatee, or you said, "Hey, I want to be like the guy in the bucket"? Tell me.
No, it wasn't like that. I'm going to try to condense it a little bit. I'm retired from the propane industry. I was a real live Hank Hill, King of the Hill.
Propane Bobby.
And I worked propane and propane accessories. Bobby, there's something wrong with that kid. You know what I mean? Once you had Lady Propane, you'll never have another lover. Those are the Hank Hill lines. But anyway, I was a real live Hank Hill. Right. I was in the propane industry for 31 years. And 2009, I almost died from an ailment, prostate issue, and it put me in the hospital. And I was probably moments from my bladder exploding because I was completely stopped up. And they got me to the emergency room in time and got me offloaded, you could say. But I was sick. And I was in the hospital and a lot of infection. So that was a low time for me. Now, while I was in the hospital, the propane industry downsized me. I was making really good money. and they didn't think I was going to survive. So they hired another young feller. He only had like 12 years experience to take my place. And anyway, anyway, I didn't want to fight it because, I was getting tired anyway. 31 years of passing gas is a long time. But that was a joke, son. Yeah, there you go. but I was pretty down emotionally, physically, and not only that, my wife had divorced me, and that right before that, the divorce was finalized. So I had all this negative stuff going on in my life. So I wasn't feeling too good. And
I'm already thinking of writing a movie script about you. This is awesome.
Well, yeah. I've also got a degree in a bachelor's science degree in criminal psychology. I'm an Air Force, U.S. Air Force Vietnam era veteran. I was a radar weapons controller. And so I was very much involved in the Cold War, watching the Russians, and they were watching us. And so anyway, while I was in the Air Force, I took a lot of college classes. I just took advantage of it because I knew the GI Bill was going to put me through college. So I took all the college. It didn't cost me hardly anything, And the whole time I was in the service. Now, when I got out of the Air Force in 1979, I only had just a few. I've already had all the elective classes taken care of. I still had to take some things like I even forgot what they were, like English and this, the stuff that you have to do to get your degree. So I had got out of the Air Force, and when I got my degree, while I was going to get the last few credits I needed to get my degree, I was working in the daytime in Kentucky Fried Chicken as a cook. And now I was just like 22 years old, and going to college at night classes. So while I was there, this was early 1979. This limousine pulled up to the KFC, and doggone it, it was Colonel Sanders. And
the real
he
Colonel.
Was there. I think the real Colonel. Yeah, the real KFC Colonel pulled up, and I think his chauffeur's name was Dick Miller. Dick was there. I think they came in, and Colonel Sanders was famous in the last days, or just show any day. He was famous for showing up unexpected to do an inspection. Now, the Colonel used to always say, and I'm gonna go back into character, if you make the gravy correctly, you can throw away the chicken. You see, he had a stickler for his gravy, and back then we used to make 5-gallon tubs of it, and it was crackling gravy. It took all the stuff off the bottom at the end of the day. We'd get all the cracklings and stuff off the bottom, and then we'd smash them up a little bit, and then the next morning we put him in with his secret recipe for his gravy, and then he also would add cream in it to make it so creamy. So anyway, if that gravy was correct, he walked in there, he liked the gravy, and then he would go back to the mixing table where the flour and the 11 herbs and spices was in the tub, and he'd take his fingers, take a big pinch out of it, put it in his mouth, and that's how he tested to see if it was mixed up properly. There were some KFCs who were very stingy with the ingredients because some of them were expensive, so he wanted to make sure that they wasn't cutting corners and to save money, but yet jeopardize the integrity of the product. So he went back there and he tested it, and he said, "Oh, this is good. You got it mixed up good." And anyway, then he tasted my chicken, and he liked the chicken. So he was a happy camper. He was there about an hour and a half. We just visited. He got to visit with him. He found out I was just got out of the Air Force, and he was interested in that. Now, the reason he was there, this is around the time when he got first diagnosed with his cancer, and he had leukemia, and he actually died of pneumonia as a complication of leukemia. But in Miami, off Biscayne Boulevard, there used to be a Mayo Clinic that specialized in leukemia, and he went there to confer with the doctors to see if he can beat this disease, because he was always saying, if I can live I'm going to live to be 100. Just watch me. I'm going to do it. He wanted to live to see 100 years. But it didn't do any good. We lost him December 16th, 1980. So anyway, I got to meet the Colonel. Now back to my story, how I became the Colonel. again, I just had this divorce finalized. I was sick, almost died, very depressed. Also, before that, I had spent 20 years in a religious cult and met my wife in this religious cult. And 20 years in it really had a huge impact on my life. And I don't want to go deep into this because it's hard to explain all that. But I had a real problem. Like anybody who leads a cult, and you've been in it as long as that, you got issues because you're very judgmental. Your life. The good book says, by beholding you become changed. And I was in that cult for 20 years, and all I heard was the information from the cult, and it pretty well filled my brain full of garbage. You know what I'm saying? And it affected how I carried myself in public. Now, when I left that cult in 2006, when the cult leader started doing questionable things, sexual things, that's when my eyes were opened, and that's when I left. And my wife would not go with me, so she stayed behind. So it was very hard time. I had a lot of bad things. I was still in withdrawal from going from the cult way of thinking to normal thinking. I came to the point one day, and I realized if I don't change my attitude, I'm not never going to have a friend again. So of course that was true, because I was just making everybody angry because of this mindset I had, because I was thinking and talking like the cult leader. And so I had to go through a drastic change in life. So this was also happening at this very same time. So I had all this negative stuff. And then I'm laid off, and I was making very good money in management and propane. Now I'm down. I'm now on social. Now I'm on unemployment, and it was very tough on me. And but I had this thing. All my life when I was young, my family was poor, and we couldn't even afford to go to McDonald's. Nevertheless, Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I didn't even go and eat Kentucky Fried Chicken until after I was in the United States Air Force. Yeah, once my motors bit into that delicious goodness, I was hooked. Folks, it's the best chicken in the world, and it still is. And anyway, I had this habit ever since then. I would eat KFC 2 or 3 times a week because I like that stuff. And so here it was. I'm on unemployment now. I'm living in Yuma, Arizona. Now, this is where we have all those winter visitors. The Canadian. Hey, you're a Canadian, aren't you, dadgummit?
I am. I make my home here in Canada, yeah.
Anyway, we have a lot of Canadian snowbirds. Yuma, Arizona, when it's hot there, it's got a population of about 260,000 people. But when the winter visitors come down, it goes up to 1.5 million people. And I ran a propane company, and I did deliveries of propane to all the RV parks that were just crammed full of winter visitors, motorhomes, fifth wheels, and plus the barbecue bottles and stuff. And they had then over around 75 RV parks in the city of Yuma alone, and about 5 or 6 of them were super parks with over 1,000 spaces. So you're talking about, can you visualize that? So we sold a lot of propane. It was very uncommon for me to not sell 1 million gallons a year.
Chicken.
So we was making good money. Well, I wasn't selling chicken then, but anyway, all this came to a head, and I was feeling pretty poorly, and I couldn't afford to eat at then. I had a 401k, but I didn't want to tap into that just yet, and not a lot in it, but I had enough. I could spend some money. But I still like KFC, so instead of eating 3 times a week, I ate once every 2 weeks because I was, trying to save my money and find work. And so anyway, I was in Yuma, Arizona, out in the Florida foothill and the Yuma foothills, and out there is one of the world's largest buffets for Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it was also partnered.
Led with that.
Yeah. It was also. Half the store is KFC, the other half of the store was A&W root beer. So here you're in a full buffet that's 25 feet long with everything that's delicious in the world. Bread pudding, peach cobblers, huge salad bar. I mean, stuffing, vegetables, crispy chicken, original chicken, grilled chicken. And then you can also get hamburgers and hot dogs and root beer floats and ice cream. I mean, that's heaven, heaven. So I went in there once a week to load up, you know. And here I was. Now, you got to remember, this was hot time of this was in the summer, it's so hot, it's 120 degrees in the shade. In Yuma, it's also 100 days of the year, of every year, it's over 100 degrees in Yuma. So it's hot there. Now, in the winter, it's tolerable. You can, and that's when all the visitors come down, you know. And so I'm sitting out there, and it's winter, and this and place is packed. We had a seating capacity of 187 people in that lobby. It held a lot of people. And so anyway, I'm sitting there, and I'm wearing typical Yuma attire. I'm wearing a baseball cap, T-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops. You know, that's what a lot of guys wore down there. And so I'm sitting in there, and I'm enjoying some chicken. And here come this couple walking towards my table. And this guy come walking up straight to my table. He goes, "Hey there, Colonel, I'd like to get your picture and your autograph. Eh?" You Canadians, you always say A. Why don't you ever say B, C, and D and those other letters? But anyway, I looked at him and I had my chicken leg. In my hand. I go, "Why?" He says, "Well, you look like the old bird himself." And I'm thinking, this guy's a nutcase. You know, I looked at him, and so anyway, he took a picture of me, and then he shoved a napkin towards me. He said, "I want your autograph." And I'm sitting there thinking, what was his name? Was it Harlan? Or, you know, I figured, is it Harlan with a D, Harlan with an N? So I'm sitting there wondering, well, I don't even know what his signature looks like. And I looked off to my right, and right there on the wall was his signature. I figured, hey, I could do that. So I whipped it out and handed it back to him. He walked away, pleased as punch.
Did you have like the mustache and goatee at the time?
I had a full goatee. This is what's called a Van Dyke.
Okay.
But I had a full goatee. I had full goatee, wire rim glasses. So anyway, I went back to my dinner and didn't think nothing more of it. I went again 2 weeks later, again, eat that one meal that I was going to get. And it happened again. Another Canadian couple come walking up. The same scenario, except this time they didn't ask for the autograph. And that's when the little light bulb went up above my head. I go, you know, maybe there's something to this. So I finished my dinner. I walked in the men's room in front of the mirror, and I took my hands and I covered up most of the goatee, and I looked at it like this and turned sideways. I go, you know, I think I can pull this off. And that's when I got the vision. The good book says the people perish because they do not have a vision. Well, I had a vision now with my life. I said, I'm going to try to see if I can do something with this vision, see if I can make it happen. So I went home and I got on the internet and I started watching YouTube Colonel Sanders TV commercials. And I got the voice down perfectly and everything. I can do it all. And I learned all his family history. And I learned all the KFC trivia. Because first of all, a lot of folks don't understand there's a difference in this entertainment industry that we do. There are impersonators, lookalikes, and tribute artists. Each is a whole different gender of that entertainment industry. A tribute artist is someone who does like a band, you know, a Kiss band or Rolling Stones or the Beatles, and they may not necessarily look or not even necessarily sound, but they do an act in tribute to their band or the artist they're portraying. A lookalike is a lookalike. They might be able to talk a little bit, but they go there for meet and greets. They're there because they look great, and they have the facial and body and everything for their impersonator, for the lookalike. And then there are those who are impersonators. Now, impersonator throws their whole being into the act. They actually literally become the character. They learn everything about the character. They learn the voice, the mannerisms, the speech patterns, and the history of the life. They know everything. They literally become that character. So when I become the Colonel, I literally become Colonel Harlan David Sanders. And I've actually get quizzed a lot. People will come up to me and ask me quick questions, and they freak out when I know the answers, you know.
Okay,
And
Colonel,
I'm having
back
that a
on
lot
track.
here.
You practiced the character.
What?
Now, how did you sell it to the company? You just walk in, dress up the Colonel, and
You're
like, you know,
breaking
just
up.
okay. You've
I did
practiced
not
the
hear that.
Colonel. You practiced the Colonel.
Yeah,
Okay. You've done your
yeah.
research. How did you sell it to KFC?
Okay, you're real garbled.
Sorry. How did you
Now
sell
you're frozen.
yourself to KFC? I'm frozen. Okay. Bad internet. Keep going. I'm going to sue my internet
You
company.
want me to improvise when you're not able to talk?
No, just tell us how you sold yourself to KFC. I'll type it up.
You're froze. I cannot hear you. I cannot. Now you.
All right, keep going. He left. Okay, he's going to come back. He left and he's going to come back. He kind of froze, bad internet connection. So we want to find out how he sold himself to KFC. Either he abandoned me and now I'm on my own. So I'm going to pretend I'm Colonel Harlan Sanders with my like KFC thingy. Okay, he should be coming back. But actually, he's quite cool. He's quite an interesting character. Showed me a tour of his whole place. Oh, he's back. He's back. Hello, how are you?
Okay.
You're good? Am I freezing? Is my connection good?
I don't know if it's going to work.
I can hear you. I can hear you. You're okay.
Okay. Maybe I'm talking too fast. I don't know.
You're good.
So anyway, I'm sitting there, and when I walked in this restaurant, I learned everything about the Colonel, and I went ahead and I not only did I study everything, but I started taking some of that money out of my 401k, and I bought me a Colonel suit. And you just can't walk into J.C. Penney's or Sears and buy a double-breasted white men's suit. You can't find those anywhere. So I went on online, and I found a men's clothing in New York City that was owned by a Vietnamese family, and they had a whole slew of them. And they sold me one, and they shipped it to me, and I had it tailored. And now these glasses, they're $350 just for these glasses. I own 4 pair of them now. But I got me a pair of those, had to get my hair bleached. Now, the Colonel was also known for all his bling. Now, everything I have now is real gold and real diamonds. But I lived in Yuma, Arizona, so I was able to go down to Algodones. It's a bordering Mexican town right next to Yuma. And I went down there and got me some fake bling, to dress up the hands. And got me a French cuff shirt, Colonel tie, and the hanky, the pocket protector, all this stuff. And had this all shaved down, had my hair bleached, and got a cane. And then I just said, well, let's go debut this. Let's go see if it's going to work. And I went back to that very same Kentucky Fried Chicken. And now I'm going to tell you what happened. I walked in there in full character. They had no idea it was coming. And I walked in there and I act like I owned the place. I walked up to the front counter, and the girl behind the counter, and she immediately starts going, Maria, get out of here. And Maria was the manager of the restaurant. Now, you got to remember, I was a regular customer there. I knew these people by name, and they knew who I was. They knew I was a guy that worked at the gas company. I even serviced some of their gas appliances in there when it break down. And so anyway, Maria comes out, and she does one of these thing moments, And then she said something. Then she said something to me that totally blew my mind. Now, Harlan Sanders died in 1980. And here's this KFC manager, 2009, looking at me saying, Colonel, how come Louisville didn't call and tell us you were coming? And I looked that threw me for a loop. I figured, surely this woman knows that the Colonel, he'd be dead. You see the pickle I was in? But I stayed in character, basically didn't answer the question. And I said, well, I'm famous for just showing up unexpected. Hey, could I have that number 10 with white meat, mashed potatoes, and gravy and coleslaw, please? I just kept going. And so anyway, the girl behind the counter goes, Maria, do I charge him? And then she looked at me and she goes, no, the Colonel, he eats for free. Needless to say, I said, hey, I thought to myself, well, I'm liking this already. So anyway, I went back and the restaurant was full of winter visitors. Needless to say, my chicken got cold because everybody was coming to the table, getting selfies, taking pictures. I had people hopping in my lap. Women, they can't keep their hands to themselves, Well, anyway, it had all this attention. So I'm sitting there and I'm just having a good time. And this white van come roaring into the KFC parking lot. And this guy gets out and he runs in and he runs straight to my bench where I'm sitting, plops down next to me. He's all out of breath. And guess what he said to me? Colonel,
hello, Colonel?
How come Louisville didn't go tell us you were coming? So I go, what is it with these people? So I asked him, I said, sir, who may I have the privilege of know who I'm speaking to today? And he introduced himself, said, I'm the owner of this restaurant. Matter of fact, I own 6 more KFCs here in the greater Yuma and Eastern California area. And you're sitting in my restaurant. And I like to know, are you doing an official Colonel event in the area? And how come no one called to say you were going to be down here? So I was starting to get an inkling that maybe KFC apparently has actors. So I looked at him and said, well, sir, I am not on any event. I didn't know anything. I don't even know what you're talking about. This is something I'm doing on my own. So he goes, so you don't work for corporate? I go, no, sir, I don't. He goes, well, you should. And that's how it got started. So anyway, I started sharing with him my story, the stuff I shared about the prostate and the downsizing and everything. He said, I remember you. You're the guy, you work on my appliances here. I go, yeah, that's me. And you delivered the propane. Yeah, I delivered the propane. And anyway, he said, well, you looking for work? You're laid off? I go, yes. He says, well, I'll tell you what. Would you be interested? I want to work something out with you. If I were to print up these pocket coupons, would you be able to go out in public in character and hand them out to people? I want you to go to the movie house, anywhere you're going. You go in character, and I'll pay all your bills in regards to anything that's connected to what you're doing. I'll pay your dry cleaning. If you need to buy anything new for the outfit, I'll pay for it. Just save the bills, and I'll give you $50 a week to start, and you can eat free. So that's how I got started. And
nice.
So I started walking around as a walking billboard, basically, for Kentucky Fried Chicken for this large franchise. So anyway, you know how mouths start wagging. He started sharing with his other franchise people all over the western part of the United States. They all knew each other. Started telling them, I got this Colonel guy working for me. He's pretty damn good. And so anyway, they wanted to use me also. So anyway, he decided, pardon the phrase, but he was going to pimp me out. And so anyway, I got referred to do my first official event away from Yuma, and it was a ribbon cutting ceremony in Hollywood, California.
Ooh, Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. Yeah, there was a restaurant there right off of Vine Street being renovated. And so I went over there and be part of that. Now, when I got there, I went there early. I'd never been to Hollywood before. I still only owned the one suit, so I had it cleaned up. And I'm here. I thought I would go on Hollywood Boulevard and walk around and see the stars in the sidewalk and, the Chinese theater and, all the sights that's there. Madame Tussauds. It was all the neat stuff is all together. And I'm there, and I'm on the front sidewalk. And my ribbon cutting ceremony was supposed to be the next day, so I wanted to be a tourist the first day I was there. Now, you're going to like this story. Everybody's going to love this one. I'm standing in front of the Roosevelt Hotel, which historically is a very famous hotel on Hollywood Boulevard. This was also the setting for the very first Academy Awards, was in this hotel before it went over to the Chinese Theater across the street. And I'm in front of this hotel. I noticed these two fellers leaning against the front door. And I'm out in front looking at a sidewalk, at a store. And these guys were sort of punk, gothic. They had piercings and not too many tattoos back then. This was 2010. And they came up, one of them came up to me and got in my face. And I tried to step to the right. He would step to the left to block me. And then every time I turned, he would go and get in front of me and get closer. So finally I said, "Young feller, is there something I can do to help you out?" And then he said something that was very inappropriate. And when he said that, he pushed me. And when he pushed me, I almost fell. I was able to catch myself with my cane. And as he was pushing me, the other fella was coming to come join him. And I'm thinking, I'm about to get robbed. And there was a whole bunch of Japanese tourists right next to me walking around, and they had their cameras. And this, so I came up. I'm a veteran. I'm not bragging or anything, but I was ready to take the cane and plant the end of that cane in his Adam's apple. I was ready to, deal with it. I was ready to deal with it. And just as I was getting ready to come up and give him the business in, somebody jumped in between us. I had a hero. Someone jumped in between us, and he started pushing these guys. And these guys were tumbling, falling, and he was saying, get out of here now. And I looked up, and all I saw was robe, long hair, and sandals. And this guy was like 6'10". I'm looking at him and just like this, and he turns around, and I am looking at Jesus Christ in the flesh. Oh, really? Yeah, I see the look on your face. And I had the same look on my face. And he come and he looked at me and he smiled. He says, "Colonel, are you okay?" I go, "Yeah. Who the hell are you?" and he started laughing. Well, he says, "My name is Kevin Short, and I'm a Jesus Christ impersonator. And I walk the streets of Hollywood to as my form of ministry." And anyway, not too many people can literally say they've been saved by Jesus, literally. But needless to say, we became friends right away. And so anyway, he looked at me. He says, "Well, how come you're dressed as Colonel Sanders? You look a little weird yourself." You ever been to Hollywood, Steve?
I have.
So you've seen the costume people who walk around on Hollywood Boulevard and they're panhandling? Yes, so he was wondering if I was one of them. I said, "No, sir. I'm actually here for an official KFC event. I'm doing the ribbon cutting tomorrow." So, "You're the real Colonel?" I go, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir." And so he says, "You ever been to Hollywood before, Colonel?" I go, "No, I haven't. Would you like to have a guided tour? I'd be happy to host you and walk you around." And so I also invited him to come to the ribbon cutting ceremony the next day. So anyway, we spent the whole day together. Now, we got up the next morning and KFC called me and said, "We're going to have to postpone this event for another day." I think the weather wasn't that great. I don't know what it was. I forgot what it was, the reason. So I had an extra day to be with Kevin. Now Kevin does everything by walking. We must have put 25, 30 miles on shoe leather that day, walking around. And we walked until 1 o'clock in the morning. In fact, at 1 o'clock in the morning, we was actually in, what was the name of the place? It was on, what was the street that's right next to Highwood Boulevard? It has the comedy shop, the comedy store, where a lot of up-and-coming comics go and work. And all the famous comics had started out in this place. And we went in there at 1 o'clock in the morning to see the show. And it was a pretty good show. And apparently he was a regular in there, so he always would get a good front. Jesus, of course, sits up front, you know.
Of course,
and,
yeah.
And he's got the Colonel with him. So they brought us up on stage. And, you know, we didn't have the event the next day, so I figured, well, I can stay out to 1 o'clock, you know. So they brought us up on stage, and the comics was open license. And they literally tore into me. Now, but they wouldn't say a single thing about Jesus. You know, that would be, you know, a little bit awkward, you know. But I heard some pretty foul, F-O-U-L, not F-O-W-L, chicken jokes. Oh,
like, how did the chicken why did the chicken cross the road? Is that one?
No, that wasn't one of them. These comics were pretty raw.
But do you have an answer for that? We won't go into that. I'm sure you've been asked that many times. Why did
I do? I've been asked that a lot. Yes, they do have an answer, and the answer is because across the street there. The answer is because there was free beer across the street. He was going over there to get marinated. They know they can do it. That's my answer for that joke.
Are you the only Colonel Sanders impersonator, or are there many more?
Okay, since Colonel Sanders passed away in 1980, there have been 5 official KFC ambassadors, 5 of them. 3 of them are now dead. When I started, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, how I got started being official. Huh? I became official in 2010. 2010. Back to Yuma again. Okay, I've left Hollywood now. The Hollywood events already happened. I did an interview with the Yuma Sun, which is the main newspaper in Yuma, and I realized, you know, things were starting. Now, this interview was actually before the Hollywood event. I knew this interview was going to be something big. It could open up some doors. This is the first time I've been interviewed, so I decided to hire an agent. And I got on the internet and I found an agent in Las Vegas. Her name was Gracie Full James. And some of you folks who's impersonators and out there might even know her. But she specialized in impersonators, lookalikes, and tribute artists. So anyway, I sent her a couple photographs I've had of me in character, introduced myself, and I asked her if she'd be willing to take my account because I needed her help. Well, she got on the phone right away and said, man, I'd love your pictures. And yeah, I'll be happy to take your account. So she says, I'm going to fix you up. Because I said, she goes, when's the interview? The interview is going to be this next coming Monday. She says, okay, we got to work fast. She says, when you go to that interview, do not let the photographer from the newspaper take your picture. And I looked at her and goes, well, that's sort of an odd thing to say. I said, why? He says, well, here's what we're going to do. Out there at Western Arizona College, they have a branch right there next to Yuma. And I happen to know the man who teaches the photography class there, and he has a studio there. As soon as I get off the phone with you, I'm getting on the phone with him immediately. And you be at his, apparently she must have had some pull. She says, you be there tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in full character, take any props with you, and we're going to do a professional photo shoot, and then we're going to put them on a CD. And when they come up to take the pictures, you hand them the CD, says, everything you need is right there, sir. And so they did it. And the interview came out. It was a flawless interview, beautiful interview. Now, for those of you folks who are in publishing, you know that sometimes a lot of articles, a lot of papers get picked up by the Associate Press. And if your article gets picked up, see, every morning in every newspaper, they have the Associated Press, they have this thing that they can go around and pick out stories to put in their paper. Well, apparently, that was a pretty good subject matter of Colonel Sanders coming back to life. And
sure.
So anyway, that article appeared in almost every major newspaper in the world.
Wow. And we just lost him due to internet connection. Okay, I'll let you know when he comes back. You know what? He's over in the States. Colonel Johnny Miller's coming back. Oh, there he is.
Am I back?
You're back. How are you doing? What happened?
I'm back, folks. I'm back.
The competition is cutting you off. Keep going? That's what I saw. Yeah.
Okay, where did I leave off? Because I don't know exactly what it ended.
Well,
we've got a
question that was, yeah, you made the cover of Worldwide. You're fantastic. You're a hero now. You come back from the dead.
Okay. You're still garbled. Can they still hear me, though?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Audio issue.
Well, anyway, the Associated Press picked up the article, and it appeared in every newspaper in the world, pretty much. Well, including the newspapers in Louisville, Kentucky, where
bad internet connection. He's a celebrity. You know, while we're waiting for him, check out this really cool video of him. He's been flown all over the place, but this is him in Dubai or Kuwait. They brought him over. Oh, wait, shit.
There we go. Here we are.
We're back. Sorry.
Okay. Well, the article also appeared in the Louisville paper in Louisville, Kentucky, where KFC headquarters is. And folks who were employees of KFC read the article. They opened up the newspaper, and there they was looking at a colonel they'd never seen before. And needless to say, by like 3 or 4 days afterwards, I got an email from someone from the marketing, not from the marketing, but from the public relations communications office. He was the head manager of those departments at KFC corporate in Louisville. And he said, call me on the phone right now. So he had his cell phone. I called him, and he was just, he says, I read your story. It was fantastic. What are you doing next week, Colonel? He was calling me Colonel. I go, well, I'm still not really doing anything. Why? What's on your mind? He says, well, could you be at the airport next Tuesday? We'll have a plane ticket waiting for you. We're going to fly you into Louisville, and we're going to sit down and have a talk with you. So I said, well, sir, you want me to come in character? He says, oh, please do. So anyway, KFC headquarters is approximately maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles tops from Louisville International Airport. So I got there, and he was there to pick me up at the airport and everything. It was just really nice. So they went back, and we had a good time, and they offered me a job. And apparently, this is when I found out that they have colonels on staff that they use for the marketing events, for the social media events and ribbon cutting ceremonies. And one of them had just recently passed away. So when this was Colonel, and this guy's name was Colonel John Baxley, and he had worked for KFC for years, but now they didn't have any colonels, so they hired they had another guy named Bob Robert. What's Bob's name? Thompson, and he was the former mayor of Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and they hired a month before they hired me. They hired a guy named C.J. Sizemore out of Champaign, Illinois. Now he'd only been working for KFC for a month, and he hadn't even done any events yet. So they really wasn't thinking about hiring another colonel because they had CJ and they had Bob. But when he saw my thing, he said, "Well, we got to bring this guy on board." So I came the number 3 colonel, and Bob, but CJ has 30 days seniority over me, But that's okay. He's a good looking feller. Yeah, something about me. I mean, come on, we're in the height of good lookingness here, I mean something about a Southern gentleman, that women like. So anyway,
chicken.
Yeah, that too. But anyway, he said, I can't promise you a lot of events, but he says, we got to do quite an extensive background investigation on you. And it took him over a month to do it. And I passed it, and pretty soon I started getting events. Now, they started me off as a brand ambassador. Basically, CJ and we went back and forth, and we took turns with events. And now CJ's married, and I think he's like 82 years old now. And when he goes on his events, he takes his wife with him. So that's double the airfare, double the hotel that the brand has to pay. And I'm a single fella. I'm single colonel. Is that a Beyonce song? I'm a single colonel. I'm a single colonel. But anyway, I'm cheaper to fly around. So I do a lot of the overseas events. And he's like the domestic colonel. Well, he does overseas stuff too, but I do a lot of the overseas stuff because I'm cheaper to fly.
Well, hold on. Speaking of overseas stuff, I've got a video that I want to share with you and show with everyone. I will get this right this time.
You want me to say where it's at? You want me to introduce it, and then you play it?
You can.
Oh, you want to do
it? We're just going to play it, and you can tell us it's in.
It's in Kuwait.
Here we go. Kuwait.
You don't have the sound on. Here we go.
That's okay. We got you. You can commentate for us. That's
well,
you, right?
Going up the escalators. See all them fellas wearing black? Those were my bodyguards. Yeah. Bodyguards.
Wow.
This was quite a few years ago, and this was my first trip to the Middle East. And there were literally thousands of people. That's a military procession. I didn't know they had a military there. And there are literally thousands of people there. They've had like a long time to prepare this event.
Oh, that's adorable.
Look at all the photographers. Look at all the pictures. Here I am greeting the people in the restaurant. Look at them. Look at them. They're all there to see me. And that's my bodyguards. And here's the evening event. Big party event. This is what my events are like. They're pretty big. I mean, I'm a rock star, baby.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. And here I am. I'm getting ready to throw out some T-shirts. I think. I'm getting selfies. Here I'm throwing T-shirts out. Now here I'm visiting. This is the next day, and I'm visiting the folks in the Middle East. They take very good care of their handicapped. They treat them good. And here I'm at a school for handicapped people with young folks, and they're getting to visit the colonel. Here I am posing with staff, and I'm just waving goodbye. And that's the end of that event. But had a good time.
Wow. I mean, I saw you told me about your videos, your commercials, and you told me about the one of you in Kuwait. But when I saw this one, which you didn't mention, just showed you like, it's amazing. You're like a king.
Well, rise here, slave, rise. But anyway, okay. I've also done a major event also in Egypt, and there's pictures of me in Egypt too. But anyway, I love my job. I have probably one of the best retirement jobs a fella can have. I'm 65 years old, and I've probably got a good 20 years left in me if I keep, as long as I'm eating Kentucky Fried Chicken, I'm eating healthy, you see. So I got a good 20 years left, so who knows where this is going to end up with me. I've been working as the brand ambassador since 2010. I'm also a Kentucky Colonel, so a real Kentucky Colonel. There's lots of things that's going for me. It's real positive. Now I live in Corbin, Kentucky. I'm hoping to be involved with the KFC Museum that's here in this town. Corbin is famous for being the birthplace of Kentucky Fried Chicken. They got a wonderful museum here that was Colonel's first restaurant. It's closed right now because of the coronavirus, and also they're renovating it right now. So they're going to try to get it open by September 9th with the construction, and that's going to be the Colonel's 130th birthday. It's going to be a big birthday party that day. I'm hoping I'll be there to attend it.
No doubt. And you mentioned that you want to work there, correct?
Well, I want to work there. I need to have some place to work out of. I'm in talks, trying to talk to these folks about maybe being an honorary curator of the museum, so I can give tours of the museum in first person. And to me,
that would be fantastic.
That would be, to me, the pinnacle of my career, to be able to work in that museum. I couldn't care less about being the official Colonel of KFC. As long as I'm at that, I mean, come on. I can't get any better than working at the original museum. To me, if I got that, I'd be happy. I'd be so happy. I'd do that the rest of my life, and the money's good.
Oh, for sure. Now you mentioned that okay, we won't go into the details, but you had a massive bill because you just moved out there, and you were wondering how you're going to pay it. And the next thing you know, you got like a 2-minute video that you were asked to do, and that pretty well covered the bill.
This was just a couple of days ago, 3 days ago. Often, as it is when you move across country, it's nothing's cheap anymore. I had to hire a moving van. And then when you go into a new home, you got to pay these utilities, deposits, and they came due all at once. So all of a sudden, my cell phone bill in Florida, where I was just come from, was only $65 a month. And I got here and I had a $190 bill that come in the mail from Verizon Wireless. They apparently put everything together. 2 months bill and then the deposit all grouped together. I'm going, my goodness gracious, this is going to cut into my bottom line, and so I started getting concerned. So I love the Lord. I'm a Christian. And I prayed. I said, Lord, you got to get me out of this one. I need some cash. And I think the very next day, I got a gig for Gig Salad, asking for me to do a marketing, congratulations virtual appearance to the like this, to a client in San Francisco, California. And again, that cell phone bill was $190. And guess what I got paid for the gig? For 2 minutes worth of work, a 2-minute video, $100 a minute. Did the video. Wow. I got a thing from Gig Salad. I'm getting they haven't paid me yet, by the way. Gig Salad, if you're listening, where's my money?
Where's the money?
But anyway, I got $200 for the gig. By the time they took their $10 out for the gig, that's $190. I mean, talk about provision. So I'll be able to make it to the end of the month.
Well, that's amazing. Well, thanks a lot.
And stuff like that happens all the time with me.
So you don't just work for corporate; you work for other people as well, correct?
I do private gigs. I'm also believe it or not, I'm an ordained minister, and I haven't done any weddings yet, but I went ahead and got ordained, and so I can actually you can have Colonel Sanders marry you. Anyway,
and that would be amazing.
We could cater the ceremony with chicken from a pretty good chicken restaurant, But needless to say,
chicken lovers.
I do a lot of off. KFC is very liberal with me. I've been with them now for going on over 10 years. They trust me pretty good. I do have a set of rules I have to go by, and they're common sense rules. But I'm not supposed to ever in character do anything that's going to go against the character of Colonel Sanders or his legacy. I'm not supposed to smoke, drink, cuss. All those things. You don't do that stuff when you're in character. And you as a professional impersonator, you know that. This is stuff that's going to work against you in this industry.
Oh, so Eve here says that getting married by you would be awesome. Buckets on the table. She says that's a great idea.
Yeah, well,
From a fan.
instead of having instead of wine glasses full of wine, we can drink gravy. That's weird. That is a little weird for me to say. That's pretty.
It is weird. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Anyway,
so you got
have filled some questions. See if anybody has a question for me.
Anyone got questions? Type them up. I'll put them on screen. Now, while we're waiting for questions, are you allowed to go eat in any other competitor's restaurant?
Okay, well, let me tell you one restaurant I am allowed to go into, even in character. That's Wendy's.
Wendy's.
And there's a reason for that. Dave Thomas, who was the founder of Wendy's, actually got his start in the restaurant industry working for Colonel Sanders. He was a top-notch financial wizard, manager for Colonel Sanders. And this guy was smart. And he rose up through the early management ranks in the early days of KFC to the highest he can go. And he and Colonel Sanders, they just loved each other because they just made money for each other. So anyway, when Colonel Sanders eventually passed, of course, Dave Thomas lived for a few years longer. When it came around to, and he lowered the flags to half staff at the Wendy's. Matter of fact, they did it before KFC lowered theirs. It's so interesting. But there's always been a very tight friendship between the two. So I'm allowed to go in there in commemorative of the friendship and the professional relationship that Dave Thomas had with the Colonel. So I still uphold the tradition of that. So I can go in there and enjoy myself. Now, as for McDonald's and Burger King and all those other places, especially all the other chicken restaurants, I'm not allowed to go in.
You won't mention.
I have not been in a McDonald's since 2010. And if I want a filet of fish sandwich, I got to go through the drive-through and put a baseball cap on and sort of look away from just give me the dadgum sandwich, and get out of here. Here's the money. But that's how it is, and that makes sense because we live in an age where everybody has a phone and a camera. And face it, folks, I can't hide this. And I can't hide my face. I got one of the most famous faces in the world. So it would cause confusion if I was going into McDonald's and these other restaurants, and we can't have that because it's not good publicity for Kentucky Fried Chicken. So I don't go into those places. It's not like
a friend of ours, a fan of yours, Jamie Paget. I think you know him, or Paget.
Yes, I do.
Colonel, what is your favorite karaoke song to sing?
Well, right said George. I am too sexy for my body. You know the song.
I do. I met you a couple summers ago, and we were at Sunburst, and everyone, it was karaoke night. Everyone got a song, and you picked that one, "I'm Too Sexy." I was going to do that as Dr. Evil because I think it would have been a hoot, but you beat me to it, and you've done this like every year since. So you know what? I'm proposing a dance-off for that song. Next time we get together for the karaoke night, we both learn the songs off by heart, and we give a performance. "I'm Too Sexy." The Colonel versus the Doctor. Me against you. Ready?
Well, just as long as you keep your clothes on, okay?
No promises. I'll shake my butt.
Well, we'll try it. We'll have fun. But it's a fun song. And I get up there and I swing the cane and take my jacket off and swing it around. I have fun. It's fun. We're family. We're family, you see. But anyway,
we've got a question from Eve.
Yeah.
She's been watching us. She goes, "What do you think of the actors in the KFC commercials from the last few years? Any favorites?" I know the answer.
Yes. The answer is they're too expensive. They're all members of SAG and ATRA, and I know that KFC is paying union wage. I'm cheaper. I'm an employee of Kentucky Fried Chicken. But anyway, they'll figure it out eventually. My favorite ones. Daryl Hammond, who was the very first one, he was the best of all of them. Norm Macdonald, well, I'm not going to comment on him. I wasn't too fond of him. I like George Hamilton. He was perfect casting for the extra crispy Colonel. And I loved Reba McEntire. She was fantastic. But all the other ones are I don't like using comedy to sell a product. We live in a time where the younger generation they like that stuff, and they think comedy and will do it, and apparently it's working because we're paying the bills. So, but yeah, Daryl Hammond was good, but I'm pretty good too.
Now, you said you don't like comedy. It's a shame because the WWE, if you follow wrestling, they've had this little I think they had this little promotion with KFC, and Dolph Ziggler and Shawn Michaels and a lot of other wrestlers, put on the Colonel gimmick, and they all had a little contest. I thought that was amusing. Did you manage to see any of that?
Well, here's the thing. I mentioned earlier that I was in a religious cult. I did say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
wasn't a wrestling cult, was it?
Huh?
Wasn't a wrestling cult, was it? Because I'm involved in
wrestling. No. But I was in it for 20 years, and one of the things I still practice, and a conviction I have, is I have not owned a television since 1984. I think television is garbage. I think it's I don't like the stuff that's on it because none of it's edifying. It's all lies, and all the news on the news at night, it's all bad news. Who needs to listen to that all the time and watch all that stuff? Again, by beholding, you become changed. Garbage in, garbage out.
You mean like my murder hornets?
Oh, I understand you got some robots of that stuff that are even bigger than those.
Pretty well.
I fact, you mean even.
Our friend Eve asked,
regular chicken, all the way. OR. By the fact, I'm also a KFC cook. Matter of fact, I'll show you my certificate. It's right over there on the wall. It's right over there in the wall, right over here. I've actually have worked for quite a few years in a real KFC, and I cook. I work every position in the restaurant. Matter of fact, the last time I cooked and worked a whole shift was about 9 weeks ago in Orlando, Florida, and I have been working at that restaurant for over 6 years, full time. So you can't get more authentic than me in regards to at least having some hands-on experience actually working in the restaurant. And folks, my chicken is definitely finger-licking good.
Now, I remember I went with you once. We went for a walk to pick me up some makeup for the scar thing, which I didn't have. And we stopped by at a KFC. And apparently they treated you like a celebrity that you are, which is fantastic. And you ordered extra crispy, and I ordered regular, sadly. But the extra crispy, I thought I
got OR, and you got crispy.
No, you got the extra crispy. You were like just crunching and crunching. You're like,
I must have been running a fever.
You must have been. But that was fun. Also, I saw on your page you are a hell of a singer because you were singing with an Elvis impersonator at one of the restaurants, and you've got a fantastic voice.
I have been. You remember the actor Jim Neighbors? He played Gomer Pyle on Gomer Pyle USMC. In real life, Jim Neighbors was a beautiful singer. And he was almost like award-winning. He was that good because he did not sing like he's talked. And, my voice isn't as good, but I've been a member of the Barbershop Harmony Society. And I do close harmonies and male quartets and choruses. And I've been a member of that since I was 14 years old. I'm still a member of the Barbershop Harmony Society. Now, I haven't been to a meeting in a few years because I'm just too busy. And even here, the nearest chapter is all the way in Lexington. That's just too far to drive to go sing. But I'm still on the books, and I still listen, and I still enjoy, and I love to sing. I actually do special music and sing at church, and so I enjoy vocalizing and harmonizing.
You know what?
And I sing high tenor. I sing the girly line, the high line.
Next time we see you at Sunburst, give us a little sample of your fantastic voice. I mean,
I'd like to get a quartet together and actually harmonize and do a little barbershop song. But you can't get those guys to do that. They're too busy partying and drinking.
Right, I know.
But anyway, the parties, we got some good parties there. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be at this next Sunburst. That's up in the air right now because I'm very active in the American Legion and the Disabled American Veterans. And Labor Day weekend, when we have the Sunburst Convention this coming year for 2020, is our national convention, and it's going to be in Louisville, Kentucky. And they've already asked if I would go there and hopefully be a delegate. So I'm still pondering that, and we'll see what's going to happen, because right now this coronavirus thing has sort of changed schedules for everything. Things are getting canceled. Conventions are getting canceled right and left. But we don't know, social distancing. We may not be able to have a convention. So we'll see what happens.
Might have a virtual one. Well, thanks a lot. I mean, you've been fantastic. Oh, by the way, you remember this? It's my Colonel Sanders Funko Pop, which I had you sign.
Well, I don't have yours no more. Remember my roommate?
Yeah.
I had there in Orlando. She snagged it.
What? She snagged the Dr. Stevil?
She snagged your doc. She apparently must think he's hot. I don't know. Joanne, don't you listen? I hope you're not listening.
Although it's a bad thing she did, she does have taste, because, this is one hell of a hot Funko Pop, Dr. Stevil.
Okay, well, how much time you got left there, Steve?
I don't know. What have you got? A small tour of your place?
Well, I happen to have hanging on my walls one of the largest private collections of authentic vintage KFC memorabilia. And I've got about everything under the sun.
Okay, we passed the hour mark, so anything we do now is bonus. So if anybody wants a tour of your place, which I personally have seen a little bit of it virtually, you could compete with the Kentucky Fried Chicken Museum yourself, because you've got so much. You should charge admission.
I won't be competing, but I do have things that it does not have. And I do have some connections. So, I've got some nice stuff. So I'm going to disconnect the phone out of the cradle here, if I can get it out. There it is. And I'm going to move this table out of the way.
All right, so we're going to end this interview with he's going to show us what he's got. This is fantastic. I've seen it virtually. I will try and minimize myself, but
let me flip the phone around.
Yes, please.
All right, here I am walking around. Can you see?
Oh, wrong one.
Well, first off, I'm going to start off with my gorgeous mug. There's a picture of me and nice portrait. But anyway, we're going to go straight to the right, and this is my menu wall. I have vintage menus from way back when. Look at some of them prices. I mean, goodness gracious, chicken was like a 3-piece plate of chicken. It was $1.35 for jumbo order $2. Bucket of chicken. What was a bucket of chicken? A bucket of chicken was $4.10. Goodness gracious, those days are gone. This is a Mexican menu. More menus. This is I'm a member of the Honorable Order of Kentucky Kernels, and there it is. And there's my Colonel commission from the Governor of Kentucky. I got commissioned 2011. Over here is an actual signed contract Colonel Sanders signed he did a TV commercial for ABC for the muscular dystrophy and campaign. And he was always doing things for disabled kids. So I actually got one of his original contracts. This is my chicken mastery certificate saying I'm a certified KFC cook. So there it is right there. So you get, this Colonel can cook. I'm also an artist. This is a self-portrait I did of myself in the mirror. And, I'm not too bad, not too shabby. More menus. A menu from Ireland. More menus. Like I said, that's just my menus. Now this here is a thing with 4 different paper hats. This is the oldest one right here. It's right here. It's from the original time. Now back here, this is my bucket collection. And we'll just go up and down. I also got glassware next to it and salt shakers and stuff all the way down. So there's a whole collection of those. This is manuals. This is an actual blueprint of a 1990 KFC and all the manuals, the stuff you need to equip the restaurant and buy equipment and fryers. This is a clock from a Kentucky Fried Chicken from the 1970s. It's worth about $800. Yes, I see it works great. This is Colonel Sanders' obituary that was in the Louisville newspaper. This thing is a publication that covered several days of his funeral, and they found it and they mailed one out to all the people who attended his funeral. It has pictures of him laying in the casket and the graveyard ceremony and everything. This is probably his most famous marketing poster, and Meet the World's #1 Chicken Salesman. And I've just got lots of this stuff. This is from this 25th anniversary of KFC, the bulletin, the awards ceremony, and the itinerary of the convention. Patches and more stuff. This is a big picture of Colonel Sanders. I had to stand back. It was in the restaurant. Now, we still got everybody there? I can't hear nothing.
Yes, we do. We're all watching. Yep.
Okay, this is the very first tray liner that ever came out with KFC. And this is you see, he's even wearing a black suit. So this is the very first tray liner. This is very vintage and worth a lot of money. This is my name tags through the years, working for KFC. This is a collection of pins that the employees wear on their hat and uniform, achievement pins and awards and stuff. I got quite a few of them there. And now these are more trade liners. Just more trade liners. I'm not going to, trying to save time here, you see. So anyway, here are these. Now this is an oil portrait I did of Colonel Sanders, and I'm not finished with it yet. So it's, but I'm still got to do the stuff to make it 3-dimensional and the shading. So I got to be inspired to finish it, Now down here, if this don't make you hungry, nothing will. There you go. There's a bucket of chicken, but that's all 3D printed chicken. These are vintage 1954 boxes of chicken boxes. This is from the United States. This is from Mexico. Down here is my 1969 chicken box. A lot of you folks might remember these. And this is the box that came out in 1976 for the bicentennial of the United States. That was a chicken box that was for that. Down here we got glasses, a napkin dispenser, and candy dispenser. Here are two of my pride and joys. This is a complete dinner with even fake chicken, fake biscuit, fake coleslaw, of everything in 1954 in a shadow box, all glued down, complete. Napkin, wet nap, everything from the era. Here it is. And here's the same display from 1969 with everything. And I had to build these and collect them and put it together. And you actually pick these up and shake them because it's glued in good. And this is a lot of the stuff. There's my punk. We call that the pop thing. There's mine. There's Colonel Sanders right there. And I just got a lot of stuff. One more place I want to show you, then we'll call this tour over. And this is what I call my Hall of Kernels. And here you can see all the pictures on the left and all the stuff on the right. Everything on the left is actual, real photographs of Colonel Sanders. Some of them are originals. And there's a lot here. And I just got a whole wall full of original photographs of the Colonel. And this is right before he passed away. He's looking pretty feeble there. This is him. He's in Las Vegas. He's playing around with some showgirls in Vegas. He was a rascal, I heard. This is the very first picture of him. This is the picture that was used for all the photographs of all the buckets. He's wearing a black suit here. And this is probably my favorite picture of Colonel Sanders. That's a beautiful picture of him there. And on this side of the wall is more marketing posters. Back then, KFC used Look, McCall's Magazine. They advertised in magazines. And these are the full-page ads collection I have of all the full-page ads. Some of the stuff I hear is from Canada. This is Canada, and this one's Canada. and I got a lot of this stuff. Then I got a tie, a manager's tie. I just got stuff. I even got stuff in the doggone bathroom. I mean, you gotta think, you gotta have pleasant thoughts while you're in the throne room. Have you thinking of chicken? You see. But am I boring you all yet? Anyway, that good enough?
Wow, that's amazing. You have one hell of a museum. You give the official museum a run for its money. Definitely.
Well, some of this stuff I'm wanting to donate to the museum. All those shadow boxes, those things that was in the shadow boxes and the chicken boxes, I want to donate to the museum because they don't have that stuff, and it would be a good addition to the museum.
All right, Jamie says, absolutely fantastic collection, Johnny D. Miller. Awesome.
Well, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, sir.
Karen Jang says, wow, Johnny Miller, you are a Renaissance man.
I think my phone's ringing. Hold on, I got to turn this spam off. Okay, I'm back.
When you asked if we were bored, Eve says, not bored. It's just a trip back down my childhood in the 70s.
Well, I really do enjoy this job that I have. One of the biggest things that we as impersonators have to is to do our job with integrity. And it's so important that we deliver a good product. And so if you're going to think of doing this for a living, you need to research everything. Oh, I had an opportunity when I got started. I actually had a chance to do a Skype interview with Rich Little many years ago. And he gave me some pointers on how to be an impersonator.
John, you got to reverse the camera
religiously.
John, you got to reverse the camera.
Oh,
seeing that chicken that's on your guest over there.
Okay, all right.
There you go.
Sorry. I'm getting old. I'm 130. I forget to push the buttons. What else?
Karen Jang says it's an amazing collection. You have so many talents: the painting, the singing. It's awesome.
And I cook chicken.
And he cooks chicken. Wow. Now, here's something that was pointed out to me. You know the official logo there? When a little child looked at it and says, Mommy, how come the Colonel has such tiny hands and feet? Because your tie looks like it's hands and feet. Check it out.
I know.
Now we can't look at you the same way.
They watch too much television.
Awesome.
Well, any more questions or anything that anyone else wants to know? Did they enjoy the interview? Appreciate it. This was a lot of fun for me.
It was great to share all the chicken, the history and whatnot. Now I was interested with the Wendy's story because I, as a young little evil guy, I worked at Wendy's as a kid, so that was kind of interesting. But
now I understand everything. That was very revealing, what you just said. Really? Now I understand.
I worked there. I wasn't Wendy. I wasn't, going around, intimidating, impersonating her. Okay.
Well, geez.
I could have, I could have back in my younger day. Regardless.
Well, I do have some events coming up down the road. I'm scheduled to do a thing with the Department of Agriculture in Lexington. It's been rescheduled, I think, to August. So plus, I've got a year from now, I've got an event planned here in Corbin where the governor's coming. So I'll get to meet the Governor Andy Beshear, and they got an event. I'm being booked for that. We'll just see what happens. I'm staying busy, and right now I'm just sitting at home, socially isolated and eating my own cooking.
And how can people reach you? There's a website, the Colonel
Colonel Sanders Impersonator.com. That's COLSANDERS. Figure out how to spell impersonator. IMPERSON.
I got it scrolling along the bottom. Yeah.
.com. Colonel Sanders Impersonator.com, and that's my website. I've got a very, very nice, good website made by Doug Lucas from Sunburst, and very good website. And I get a lot of business from it. And So anyway, a lot of fun.
Right. Thanks a lot, Johnny. I appreciate that.
All right,
I'm just
folks.
going to let you. Anything you want to say to the
Yeah,
fans out
folks,
there?
just enjoy life. Get your vision. Like I said, people perish if they have no vision. Get your vision. Make your vision happen because nobody else will do it for you. And pour your life into it, and you will be successful. And because it has paid off for me. And I'm just enjoyed. And, I'm just enjoying my life. Life is always and will always be, for me, finger licking good.
Oh my, you said you're single, right? But Eve says, I think I just met the perfect man.
I mean, the fact that when a woman sees that a man's good in the kitchen, usually that's a pretty good thing.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Johnny. I totally appreciate it. Appreciate
All
your
right,
time.
peace, love, brother, and
All right.
stay out of those chicken competitors. I hear you're in there. I've got men who take care of you.
Really.
Beware, beware.
Bring it, chicken boy.
Thank you, Steve. Have a great day. I'm going to go ahead
You
and hit
too.
this. You shut me off, and we can talk later here.
Yep. Just wait there. I'm just going to do an outro. Okay. Just wait online. Okay. Thanks a lot, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this with Colonel Sanders. It went a bit long, but then again, I don't really have a time limit here. Tomorrow, I'm interviewing the artist of a comic book called Glory Bound about wrestling, and the owner of the industry, Sandstone Comics from out east, New Brunswick. I'm not sure which one, or Newfoundland, I think. Robert Down. That'll be at 2 o'clock my time Eastern. And on Wednesday, I'll be interviewing two more impersonators. Reese Widdock, who is a Prince Harry lookalike, and Sharon Osbourne, Carolyn Bernstein, who does Sharon Osbourne. They'll be here Wednesday at 2 o'clock my time. That's Eastern Standard, or 7 p.m. BST, British Standard, or British Summertime, whatever they want to call it. So thanks a lot, everybody. And if you enjoy it, just leave comments, check out the people I talk to, and whatever. Just enjoy, everyone. Thanks a lot for your time. Y'all take care. Bye-bye. And broadcast. Yes, I'm sure. Okay.